Okay, so our last example here is going to be the secant graph, and we know that secant is going to be the reciprocal, right, of cosine. And so therefore, what we're going to look at is getting the cosine graph on here and just kind of treating this like cosine, and then flipping it around like we've done for the cosecant graph to make it true to its form. Okay? So this is how we're going to do it. We start off with this value out front, and we start with the amplitude first. And it looks like I'm going to get the absolute value of a -1, which is 1. So we know that it's going to be flipped around the x-axis here and have the amplitude of 1. And I'm going to clear some of this stuff out here. So that means is that for cosine, it's going to start down here. Okay, so now we need to determine the period so we can see how much it's going to stretch from left to right. Okay, so to do so, we take 2 pi, and we're going to divide pi over 4 into that. So after doing that out, we're going to end up with 8. Okay, and so the period is going to be 8, which means is that it is going to return right back to here. So it's going to go through its entire cycle from 0 to 8. And so that means the following, okay, is that it is going to, since these are both going to be the valleys here, okay, or the bottom part, the minimums, etc., then right here is going to be the maximum right in the middle, and then right in the middle of those are going to be the x-intercepts. And so far, this is the ghost or the skeleton, if you will, of the graph. Now, we still have to do the phase shift, which is going to move this thing a little bit. And so let's figure that guy out. So we always look at that and go the opposite direction. So we know we're going left in the negative direction because that's positive. And we go this term, pi over 2, divided by pi over 4, okay, which is going to give me 2, okay? And so it looks like I'm going 2 to the left. And so that means that each one of these is going to be popping on over here, and etc., okay? And so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get that graph rewritten, and so we can start to knock the thing down from there. Okay, so there we go. And that is going to complete everything that we need before we start to add the asymptotes and then flip everything around. There is no vertical shift, okay? I promise you there's going to be vertical shifts in later lessons. Seems like we never use them, but there's nothing here to move it up and down right now. So, before we answer the other questions, let's flip everything around here and turn those x-intercepts into asymptotes, okay, like this, and let's make sure that we flip that graph upside down, doing the best we can here, okay, and doing this out, and there we go. Okay, so I'm going to erase the blue part of the graph, and there it is. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing as we did for the other graphs, is that there's no x-intercepts, and so we're going to put none. Okay, and it also looks like we have an asymptote here on the y-axis, and so there's not going to be any y-intercepts as well. We also know that our first positive break in the domain is going to be 0, and we look at the distance in between these, and that's going to give us 4. So it looks like the domain is going to be all real numbers except for n, where n is an integer. Okay, and we have the range, which is going to be from -infinity all the way to a -2 and including it. So it has these guys right here, union with 2 to a positive infinity. Okay. So that's that. I'm gonna assign the practice graphs for these, and then we'll take any questions or concerns or whatever you got from there. So that's how you do that, and I'll see you in the next video.